Hey guys, I got a request or an idea from somebody on Twitter about doing a walkthrough on one of my sketchbooks. So this is the current one that I'm using. It's made by this bee paper thing. What I like about this kind of paper, it's 93 pounds, so it's a little bit thicker than most sketchbook stuff. So I like the heavier stuff because somewhere in between the sort of flimsiness, which I also like sometimes, of a regular sketchbook with Bristol paper. I think I started this one. I wish I would date more of my sketchbook stuff, but this one started in 2018 and I put it aside for a while. I didn't do a lot of sketchbook stuff last year. It's mostly just working digitally in my iPad and such. This is done with a flat pen, just a sort of life study, this other sort of style that I have that I'm really interested in pursuing. I've got a project that I'm building around it. It's very different from everything else. I'm not sure how it will be received. Another just quick sketch. Most of these I make with my head as I go along. I don't lay down any pencil for the most part. Sorry, it's kind of an awkward setup here. It's hard to get the camera all the way in. This is for that project I was talking about, although I drew it in kind of a traditional comic style. If you're part of my Patreon, which is now just wallpaper size images of stuff, but for a while I was creating original material there. There's a thing called Hawk Mother, which is what this other stuff is going to be for. I did a short story. Anyway, I want to add to that short story, and that's going to be part of this new graphic novel for this weird thing that I've got. Here's some sketches of Jagger from, it says of Murder Inc., just studying her hair. Sometimes I like filling out the black in pencil like this. It's a lot of fun. Sketches I did for Mark Wheatley and Mark Hempel's book called The Man. I did a cover for it. And these are just some elements and character sketches, just trying to figure it out. It's jumping through a portal, so I drew this very rough sketch, which once I scanned it in, I used tools to make it all perfect and stuff. Here's some more of The Man. I don't know why there's skip pages, but there are. This is for Paul Bulger. Please, I'm so sorry if I fucked their name up. He's this amazing Irish artist, musician, director, animator, and does probably the best take on Cuchulainn, the Irish mythology that I've ever seen or read. And did this pinup for his book, which I did partial traditionally and then filled in the black stuff digitally. Big fan of this new show, Devs. Wish it didn't take itself so incredibly serious that there's no humor in it. It's a weird thing I see in science fiction now, where the more it's about humanity, the less human they allow their characters to be. I don't know, it's a weird thing for me. Dumb criticism, I don't know why I'm mentioning it. I guess because I was talking about it last night with my wife. But I love the show. I love its aesthetics. I love what it's saying and doing. I just wish it just had a little bit of quirkiness, a little humanity to it. But it's beautiful. It's awesome. I love it. Give it a shot. Oh, just got bent. This was just a sketch I did directly in here one morning. Just started out with these like head sketches, and then I realized they were lined up in such a way that I could create a little bit of a panel layout. So it was never intended to be this, it just became it. You know, I've got like Wonder Woman with elements of her background from her Amazon heritage. This guy with, you know, Gotham, and this dude with Metropolis and Green Lantern in space. These are all just done with just pens, just Karatuki pens. This is the sketch I did in here. This is really what kind of got me back. So some of these are out of order, but this is kind of what got me back into sketching in the sketchbook. I was looking at Elsa Charretier's work and some Chris Samney's and the pens that they were using, Furukochi pens or something like that from Karatuki, or Kurutaki, I'm not sure how to say it. And I really liked them, just helped me play around with negative space and stuff. And eventually I blew this up and then redid it. Green Lantern piece I did in here, mostly with those pens, and a Kurutaki brush pen as well. You know, that's my favorite go-to pen. It's this brush pen. I have two different holders for it, but the inside is the same. Why is this? Oh, here we go. So yeah, this comes off. It's got a really nice flexible brush on there. You can refill the ink in here with your own ink, which I prefer to do because I'm picky about my ink. I like to use, hold on. Here's the ink that I'm using. It is technically a tattoo ink. It's called Talons. I think this is Talons. The label's kind of torn off, that's why you don't see the rest of it. Yeah, it was a Talons ink for tattoos. It's just so black and so it's not thick. It flows really well. I kept this cap on here and one of our needles taped onto the side, kind of taped loosely. The idea being I can take this ink, put it into there, draw it out, and then change my inks in my pens and stuff. That was Taki's invention. Here's a Wonder Woman sketch I did, which I took this and then I scanned it and lightboxed it and finished it up. I'm not super happy with it. I never was. Mostly her head. It's just her face is kind of stiff, the expressions, and her head is a little too small. You know, weirdly in this style, the larger heads work better. Still happy with it, just not super happy with it. I was really happy with this, with the way this came out. I like that kind of super old school golden age Batman, of, you know, the flared out ears and stuff. I really want to draw Batman for real again. I wrote and drew a short story for Batman and Legends of the Dark Knight, and that was a lot of fun. I'll get to it. An After Realm sketch, which again I did finishes and inks on. You know, a lot of these I'm just drawing with this with one or two passes, like a very light layout pass, and then I tighten it up, and then I'll use my Uniball pens to outline things almost in this. It's almost like a coloring book style. I just need the forms and shapes because I've been working long enough that I can just go in here with a brush and just I know where the blacks are going to be, where the lighting's going to be, how to express the shapes and stuff. You know, sometimes I'll get in there and really detail it out before I do the piece, but for the most part, I feel comfortable just going right into it. It's another Superman based on a classic Superman piece, classic Superman S. Kind of the Spectre, but it didn't really look like him, so I just didn't finish it. I was trying to draw Batman in an interesting running pose. Maybe I'll finish that sometime. Okay, I think there was a night where I was pretty high. And I was like, well, what's it going to look like if I just draw freehand? So some of this is that. This might be that. I'm not sure what pen I used here as I'm looking closer. Oh yeah, this is just a regular ballpoint pen. That Uniball thing. Again, no pencil or anything, just going straight. Let my mind figure it out, see where it lands. More sketches. It's a character thing for something I'm working on. There's always tons of other projects I'm working on, either in the side actively or just slowly developing some stuff. And that's why it seems like I'm so prolific, because a lot of the work I'm doing, I just work ahead of time. I don't worry about when it's coming out or anything. I have that luxury, so I do it and I take advantage of it. And that way, I mean, like, After Realm was a quarterly 56-page book, and I have like 3 issues drawn before I solicited the first issue. More After Realm. I really like this pose. Definitely finish that up. Just some sketching. I don't know what any of it means. I like this extreme pose. I need to get back to more stuff like this. More influenced by early animated stuff from like Genndy Tartakovsky or some of the Disney designs, where characters and scenes were all developed around a single shape. So like this is just all about this curve, this shape. It says so much about her character and what she may or may not be. I don't know. Okay, this I was drawing freehand, definitely feeling anxious at the time. The pandemic stuff going on. Like, some days just have really dark and depressing days. It happens. I've been through a lot of therapy over the years and stuff, so I'm comfortable when this stuff happens, because I know it's more circumstantial. It's not, this is my life and this is how I'm feeling. It's just, these are hard times, so it's okay. Some days it just feel ugly and whatever, But I've also been finding a real beauty in drawing ugly shapes and forms. That's my cat. I don't know if you heard him. Just fucking around with the pens. I think I was having trouble getting the parallel pens to work, so I was fighting with them. I think I was playing around with a quill pen. I finally got one of those G pens. A lot of these straight to ink drawings, they look impressive, but a lot of them are like this too, where they're not. They just didn't come together. But there's still something about them that I like. More After Realm sketches, which I'll work out. Maybe this weird mushroom character behind them. Trying to figure out a Batman form. I kinda, sorta like the idea of this pose, but I just didn't like the way I executed it. I eventually reworked it for a Batman piece that I'll do later. I'll finish up later. Kind of a play on that same pose, but with Una. Another Una sketch, she'll be in water. Sometimes I don't finish out the sketch, I just kind of draw out the idea. Or sometimes I just want, not even the idea, I'm just fucking around. I'll just leave it where it is. Sometimes I'll come back to it and go, oh, and now I see something in it I didn't see before. More Una sketches for After Realm. This was kind of interesting. I worked with the G pen, the quill pen here, and I kind of gave up on it halfway through or partially through, but I was really having fun with how fine of a line I could get. I'm not that kind of fine line artist for the most part, but you got to play around and try different things out, and it's fun. This was for a commission piece I did, Hellboy and Cthulhu. I just drew it like this and then scanned it in, spotted all my blacks as I went along. I have another video of this, of me inking this, which you can find pretty easily on my YouTube channel. This sketch really started me getting back into the parallel pen, which I hadn't been using in a while, as you saw from that first sketchionaire from 2018. I'm sure I did some more in 2019 and probably in a different sketchbook, but anyway, straight to pen. I've been obsessed with coffee, not just, obviously I drink a lot of coffee, but like in my art, I've been finding some meaning to it. I think just through my life, watching my parents and my aunt and uncle and, people just drinking coffee, and then me becoming the coffee person, and, they're all passed now, and there's this sort of weird tradition. When I'm drinking coffee, I feel close to them. This isn't a portrait of any of them, it's just a sketch. I don't know how it worked out, it just happened. Like even this line here across the neck, it looks like a studded necklace kind of thing or something. It's just me dragging a line there and those dots happened. So one of the reasons why I like the parallel pen is it has a life of its own. Another parallel pen, just a you know, profile, straight to pen, no sketching. This one has some sketching in it. Dude laid out. Kind of how I was feeling at the time. More weirdness. But I like it. Not 100%, but I like it. Head's too small. Maybe not technically too small, but for the drawing it's too small. I love these big blotches you get out of the pens. This was the G pen. Just playing around. No pencil, just trying to figure it out as I went along. I guess I'll show this off. This is part of Hawk Mother, which is in this style of the pen. I don't know who this is for or who's going to want it, because it's super weird. It's a non-narrative dream logic stream of consciousness, all built on subtext and feelings and thoughts, but not a specific direction. And it's this old witch and her bitterness and revenge and naked people. When I do this, I'll probably just do it through like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, probably Indiegogo, because of it's R-rated, and After Realm is PG, so I figured it's smart to keep sort of my PG projects on a separate platform than my hard R stuff, you know? Not that there's like kids looking at my Kickstarter page, but still, just the idea of keeping things separate. Plus, I don't really know what I want to do with this. I'll just keep working on it until it's done. There is an actual story here, all these 3 or 4 pages. It's all based off of a couple lines from Homer, from the Iliad, I think. To me, it makes sense. We'll see when it's on paper and lettered. More naked people. I haven't drawn a lot of naked stuff outside of this style in a while. But maybe that's kind of why I like Hawk Mother. Like, there's a lot of nudity in it, but it's not gratuitous, and well, it's gratuitous because it's all over it, but it all has meaning. It's weird. I think that's all that I have in here. That's it. Yeah, so I'll do more of these sketchbook walkthroughs. This is just the latest one that I'm working on, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you guys are staying safe out there, keeping positive as you can, and I'll be here. I'll be here making videos, drawing, sharing my thoughts with you guys. That's it. Take care.